The world was young, untouched by pain or sorrow. The sky stretched endlessly, its blue depths reflecting in the crystal-clear rivers below. Every tree stood tall, its leaves whispering as the gentle wind passed through. Flowers bloomed in brilliant colors, and animals of every kind roamed freely, each one at peace, never knowing fear or hunger. In the center of this paradise, the crown of creation walked, the first man and woman formed by the hands of God himself. They had no worries, no struggles. Every fruit was theirs to enjoy. Every creature was theirs to care for. They lived in perfect unity with the world around them, with each other, and most of all, with God. But among the many trees, there stood one that was different. One whose fruit was not meant to be eaten. It was the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, placed there as a boundary, a test of trust. For a time, all was well. They had no reason to doubt, no reason to question. But that would not last forever. One day, something changed. A voice, smooth as silk and laced with curiosity, slithered into the perfect world. It was the serpent, more cunning than any creature in the garden. And with it came the first seed of doubt. The camera shifts to the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, its fruit hanging heavy, glistening in the light, untouched. The scene lingers, the air thick with unseen tension. Temptation had come. It did not shout, it did not force, it only whispered, subtle, persuasive. A thought planted like a seed. What if there was more? The leaves rustle, and movement stirs near the tree. The woman stands before it, gazing up, her eyes filled with wonder and curiosity. The fruit looks different now, desirable, alluring. A simple moment, a small decision. Yet in that instant, everything hung in the balance. The fruit had always been there, but now, for the first time, a choice was being made. Slow motion as a hand reaches out. Fingers brush against the smooth surface of the fruit. A breath is taken, hesitation fading. And then a bite. The world did not shake. The sky did not fall. But something unseen, something deep and profound, broke. The garden seems less bright, the air less pure. An invisible shift has taken place, though the beauty remains unchanged, for now. Another bite followed, a second choice mirroring the first, and with it, innocence faded. For the first time, their eyes were opened, but not in the way they had imagined. The wind picks up, rustling through the trees. A sense of unease fills the air. Adam and Eve look at each other, and something foreign stirs within them, shame. They saw themselves differently now. Not as they had before, without fear or doubt, but as something exposed, vulnerable, incomplete. Hastily, they searched for covering, weaving fig leaves together in a desperate attempt to hide. But it was not enough. It would never be enough. Then, the sound of footsteps. End consequences and a promise. A voice, familiar yet heavy, called out. It was the voice of their creator. But instead of running to him, they ran away. They hid, trembling, their hearts weighed down by something they had never known before, fear. They had never feared God before. But now, with the knowledge they had taken, came something else, separation. When they finally stepped forward, their voices were filled with excuses, their blame shifting like the wind. But the truth could not be undone. The damage was done. The garden, their home, was no longer theirs to keep. The world they once knew, the world without sorrow, without pain, was now lost to them. They would labor for food, they would feel the weight of suffering, and one day, they would return to the dust from which they came. Adam and Eve, now clothed in garments made by God's own hands, take one last look before stepping beyond the boundary. Paradise was lost. But even as they walked away, God did not abandon them. A promise remained. A hope that one day, through great sacrifice, what was broken would be made whole again. That one would come, a descendant, who would crush the serpent's head and undo the power of sin. And though the garden was lost, God's love was not. The story of the fall is not just about a mistake. It is about choice, about consequence. But above all, it is about redemption. Because even from the very beginning, God had a plan to bring his people back. Genesis 3, the fall of man.